Today I'm going to show you how to make homemade pizza that is just fantastic. It will rival commercial pizza any day of the week. Stay tuned. Okay, what I got here is a 3/4 cup of water that is between 105 and 115 degrees. I've got a little digital thermometer in here to make sure that we're still at least 105 before I put the 104. There's 105 right there. Okay, yeah, we're good. It's 11 out about 109. Alright, we're good. Anyway, you want to put 1 1/4 teaspoon of active yeast into this. This is 1 teaspoon, about 1/4. I think we're pretty close with that. Now, you want to add in 1 tablespoon of sugar and stir it in. Alright, there's the sugar. Give that yeast something to feed on. We're going to stir this in until the sugar and the yeast is dissolved. What you want to do now is, like I said, wait about 5 minutes and this yeast will begin to create a foam at the top. If it doesn't foam, then either your water was too hot, not hot enough, or your yeast is bad. Alright, we're going to give that about 5 minutes and see what we look like. We'll be back. I don't know if you can see this good on the video, but it's beginning to foam right here on the top. We've only been going about a minute. I'll tell you what prompted me to do these homemade pizzas. Well, first off, it makes a really good Super Bowl food, something you could do yourself for a lot less money. But about 2 nights ago, I ordered pizza from one of the local, well, I say local, it's actually a national chain. And when the delivery guy got here, well, you know, I paid him. He gave me the boxes. I come in here as always, opened both boxes up, and the pizzas were just mutilated. I meant bad. All the toppings were slid off into one corner. The other pizza, it was all crumbled up. It actually, like, pieces were missing, but the reason that was, all the pieces were like all folded up, flipped upside down, toppings everywhere. It looked like it got hit by a Mack truck. So needless to say, I was not happy, so I called them and let them know what happened, and they said they'd put some new ones in the oven and send a driver right back out, just give him the other pizzas. Well, that's what happened, and I looked at the new ones before he left. They looked okay. Well, when I got in here and started eating them, man, they were soggy. They could not stand up under their own weight. They were just like wet. I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm done with it. I used to make homemade pizzas all the time, and they're just absolutely great. You follow this recipe, exactly what I'm doing here, you'll see what I mean. Very easy to do, and I'll at a lot less expense. So anyway, this is starting to foam up pretty good. We're going to be about 3 more minutes, then we're going to start making this dough. We'll be back. Okay, we got a nice foam on top of this water here with the yeast in it. Now, what we have here is 2 1/4 cups of sifted, make sure you sift it, bread flour. And in with the flour we got 1 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I've dug a little well into the flour here. Now from there you just want to pour this yeast mixture into the well. Just like that. Now you want to take about 1.5 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. There's 1. There's about 1/2. Okay. Now take a fork and just gradually bring your flour into this yeast, water, olive oil mixture. Just slowly incorporate it. starting to take on more of a dough look. We're fixing to have to get dirty here and start using our hands. I'm going to make this into a ball, then we're going to put it on the flour cutting board here, and we're going to knead it for 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take my hands and form this into a dough ball. We'll be back. Okay, I have floured this cutting board here with more of the bread flour. I've got my dough. We're just going to place that on there. Now we're going to simply knead it with the palm of our hands for around 10 minutes till this gets a smooth, elastic type texture. The gluten will start doing its job. You can overdo this, but we want a good chew to our crust, so work this for at least a good 10 minutes. Take in a little bit more of this flour. You can add more as needed to get the consistency that you need. You want a good smooth, not a real wet dough. And I think you'll know when you get there. It'll have a nice bounce to it when you push in on it. It'll spring back. So we're going to do this, like I said, for about the next 10 minutes. We'll be back. Okay, I've got this where I want it. It's nice and smooth consistency. All we're going to do at this point is take a little bit of this olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. We're going to coat the surface of the dough ball. Just like that. Put a little bit more on there. Just like that. Alright, now I'm going to place it right back in the same container that I originally mixed it in. I'm going to cover this with aluminum foil, put a good tight seal on it. It's going to rise for 2 hours. I'm going to put it in the warmest spot I can here in the kitchen and let it rise for 2 hours. It should double in size. When I'm through, then I'll be back when it gets to that point and show you what to do next. Just want to tell you, by the way, I made another one of these right before making this one. So I'm going to have enough dough to do 2 pizzas, but that will be a tomorrow thing. This pizza crust is best if you'll make the dough a day in advance and let it sit overnight in the refrigerator. It does a lot with the gluten, and it just makes a whole lot better pizza dough. So we'll be back. Okay, I just pulled these doughs out of the oven. I didn't have the oven on. I just figured that'd be a warmer spot than anywhere else. I had them covered for the last 2 hours. As you can see, it has risen about twice the size it was. So we're simply just going to punch that down. Then we're going to take the other one, do the same thing. There it goes. Alright, I'm going to cover these again. I'm going to place them in the fridge overnight. We'll be back tomorrow to put these pizzas together. Okay, I've got the sauce going for these pizzas here. And to make this sauce, all you got to do is add in 1 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. I'm using the Roma tomato sauce. Into that, you want to put 1/4 cup of water, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of dried oregano, 1/4 teaspoon of dried basil leaves, 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, about 1/8 teaspoon of ground black pepper or to taste. I've also got in this 1 bay leaf. I've got a dash of onion powder and 1/2 teaspoon of lemon juice. Bring this up to a simmer. That's about where I have it now, almost. You want to let this simmer for 30 minutes to an hour to thicken up to the consistency you like. After it's to your liking, take it off the heat, put it in a container and let it cool off to room temperature, or you can put it in the fridge until ready to use. I've removed both of the doughs out of the refrigerator from last night. You've got to let this dough come up and up to room temperature. You don't want to put a cold dough on this cooking stone, this pizza stone that we're going to be using later, because it will crack it. I'm talking from experience. So we're going to let that probably warm up for at least 2 hours, and we'll be back to put some pizzas together. Alright, We're going to take our first dough here and we're going to throw it out onto this floured surface. We're going to go ahead and form this where we need it at. Just about like that. Alright, now what you want to do is take your pizza pill. This is one thing you'll need. And believe it or not, when I first started doing this years ago, I didn't have one. I used a piece of cardboard. This is what you're actually going to push the pizza into the oven with. You want to coat it with cornmeal. Just straight cornmeal, not a cornmeal mix, but straight cornmeal. This will act like ball bearings to where the pizza will slide right off onto the pizza stone. Speaking of pizza stones, I've had it in the oven for around 45 minutes at 500 degrees. If you can go hotter, that's better. At 500 degrees, this pizza will take around 5 minutes to cook. Alright, so all we're going to do now, we're going to take this pizza dough that I just put together. We're going to lay it on this pill. This is what we're actually going to build our pizza on. Make sure it moves easily. Don't let it stick. Alright, now this is a pizza dough docker or a dough docker. All you want to do is just pierce some holes into this dough. If you don't have one of these, you can use a fork. All this does is prevent it from creating big bubbles in the dough. Right now, for the sauce. You're going to use somewhere around a cup of sauce per pizza. I want to bring it fairly close to the edge, not all the way. It's been a while since I've done this. I tell you what, though, they sure are good. You do a couple of these and get it down, you'll forget all about ordering pizza again. I know I have. I said to heck with them. Tired of giving them my money for bad service, bad pizza. Let's get that bay leaf out of there. Alright, now we're going to top it with mozzarella cheese. I bought this in a block and I shredded it myself. If you buy the pre-shredded, that cheese has like a starch substance on it to stop it from sticking to each other. And I really don't prefer that. I'd rather use the block cheese and shred it myself. Just put as much as you like. I like quite a bit actually. Alright, as far as toppings go, you just simply use whatever you like. We're fixing to get to that step here in just one moment. Okay, the first thing I'm going to put on here, of course, is pepperoni. I don't think I'd ever get hired at a real pizza place. I'm not fast enough. But that's alright. I'm fast enough for my liking. Yeah, you just put on here whatever you like. I'm doing pepperoni. I've got some real bacon that I just fried. Fixing to put some of that on here. I've got some jalapenos that I will probably put completely completely on this and all the way around. I think everybody at the house likes jalapenos. I've got some red onion, of which I'll probably just put on half of it. That goes back to my son that hates onions, but anyway. Got some black olives, some mushrooms. Alright. Bacon. Black olives. Alright, now we're going to add a little mushroom. These are just canned mushrooms and canned olives. These are actually mushroom pieces and stems. Right now. These are fresh jalapenos. Already looking good. Oh yeah. Love my jalapenos. Alright, now on just 1/2, like I said, we're just going to do some red onion. Alright, we're ready for the oven. Just like that. Alright, 5 minutes. You need to check it. That's about all it takes, 5 minutes. Okay, well, you can forget about the 5 minutes. This thing has been going for about 12 minutes. Obviously, my stove isn't up to a true 500 degrees. Like I said earlier, if you can get a stove to get up even hotter, like 700-800, it works really good with these stones. These stones will dry out any moisture on this dough, and it just makes an amazing crust on them. Anyway, I'm getting ready to take this one out of here. I just looked at it. Looks like we're good to go. Take your pizza pill. There you go. Alright, what you want to do for the first few minutes, you want to place this on a bacon rack. This will stop the bottom from getting soggy. It allows it to breathe. We're going to let this cool off for just a few minutes and we're going to cut it up. Then we're going to do another pizza. Okay, before I cut this, I'm going to go ahead and put some of this parmesan romano cheese on it. Yeah, everybody likes that. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't worry about time as much as what the pizza looks like. You know what a done pizza looks like, so I guess that would be the best rule of thumb instead of trying to time it. This will generate a little bit of smoke because of the cornmeal when it hits the oven. Before long, I'm going to be set up to do these outside on a Weber grill. And the next time you see me do pizza, it will be done with that setup. Alright, let's cut this thing up. Alright, I just cut this pizza up. Looking mighty good. Getting ready to start the second pizza. We'll be back. Well, I had to take a taste. This is some fine pizza, people. I guarantee you, you do it just like I've shown here, this will compare with any pizza that you can get from these delivery places, and so much cheaper. You can make 3 or 4 of these for the price that you spend for one of their larges. But anyway, we're getting ready to get this other pizza started. something else you can do. I didn't do it on the first pizza, but I am going to do it on the second. You can rub some olive oil on the edge of this crust here. Make it a real pretty nice brown. Well, I'm here to tell you, this pizza didn't last long. It turned out really good. I wanted to also tell you, if you don't have a pizza stone, a good alternative to that, a good cheap alternative, are these little square non-glazed quarry tiles. You can get them at Lowe's or Home Depot. They're like 60 cents each. I used to take about 6 of them. I think they're 6 by 6, but you can just layer them on your bottom rack and put your rack on your oven as low as it can go, and then bring your temperature up as high as your oven will go, and have the tiles in there as you're doing it. Bring them up with the temperature to where they won't crack. But these quarry tiles, I mean, you won't have maybe $3 or $4 invested into it, and they work just as good as the store-bought pizza stones. So give it a try. You can't beat it.